All right, good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome back to NFT Live on the Web3 Network. And I say welcome back because we are back. You know, God forbid we leave for 3 days, the whole place burns down. Hopefully everybody's all right. I'm sitting here with Gifted and Biggie Poppins. I missed a whole week. What's happening? What's going on?
Oh, nothing much. I'm giddy though. I'll tell you that much. I am so giddy. Let's start talking dirty in Hawaiian, as they say.
Or Brazilian.
Or Brazilian. It works for me. All I know is we get to dunk on Apple and praise Google today. Android, baby.
Huge news. Gifted, what's up, man? XRP just came through. Also, if you guys just tuned in and you're like here after the episode, the first 5 minutes are going to be a little all over the place. We get ourselves together here, so just skip forward 5 minutes. We'll be ready. But Gif, what's up?
Well, also this guy's out of practice. You know, he hasn't been doing his daily warm ups or exercises. He hasn't been getting in his reps lately. So give him some time. You know, he's a little rusty, and that's okay. It's okay. So we support you, Nifty Q. And you know, enjoying your summer vacation while we're all back here holding it down, doing the work, keeping things running, you know, smoothly on the Web3 network. This guy is out there just, you know, hitting golf balls and eating sashimi with Mike Finch. So, you know, we support your ability to go sniff grass and touch sky, and we're just happy that you made it back safe to us over here. But I thought Biggie Pop. Oh, you cut Biggie Poppins out. I thought you were gonna cut me out there.
I have my hands off the trigger. That's all him.
I thought Biggie was gonna say that he was giddy because of the XRP news. I actually forgot. I did see a headline dropping about Google, something with Google and NFTs, like them approving NFTs or something. So I'm excited to actually dig into that because we didn't talk about that this morning yet. Yeah. So that seems very interesting.
Yeah, the Ripple stuff is fucking finally like some kind of clarity, but yeah, I'm more excited about the Google news.
The original thumbnail of this episode was Google approves NFTs, which it's huge. Like obviously being able to use those within the App Store and use NFTs within the Apple stores, the Google store is absolutely huge news. The XRP stuff just hit like an hour ago. So we're definitely going to hit that early here for y'all and definitely interested in your takes. Also, that everybody kind of comes back and finds that we're not dead in the water, apparently. Like I'm not dead in you know, swimming with the fishes or something. So hopefully everyone doesn't realize or does realize that I'm still here. But anyways, I'm going to get to some housekeeping real quick. I did, right before we went live, I did get that Star-Lordy episode out. So we do have a Wild Wild Web pod with Star-Lordy on how OniForce becomes the next blue chip. Now, I'm not getting any video feed from that because I'm a professional. And of course that happens.
Well, it's Spotify. I think doesn't it have to do with like Spotify's DMCA or whatever, their tech? They probably don't want you streaming their content on other platforms like this. Yeah. Isn't that what that is? Yeah. So you have to be on Spotify to see the excellent video quality of Nifty Q at his desk and Star-Lordy in his car. You have to be on Spotify.
I'm out. I'm out. I'm turning down the episode. What's up?
It's tremendous to get Star-Lordy, one of, I think, you know, and I think you think this too, you know, one of the foremost leaders in the NFT space right now, what he's doing with OniForce, turning them around and working to build them into a top blue chip project. I'm really excited for this episode. You know, we've had the opportunity to speak with him before on the network, and we've been working to try and get him on the Wild Web podcast. So very excited for that episode.
Yeah, a lot of great insights too. They have Comic-Con San Diego coming up next week that OniForce is going to be featured at. So some announcements coming there, talking about like the timeline of their takeover from the original team, what they're going to do, you know, with the IP here in 2024. So I mean, Gifted has been preaching the good word on OniForce for a little while now. Definitely one of the more underrated NFT projects in the space.
Well, only ever since you called him at 10 ETH, Q. That's when I really bought in.
Sitting at 0.4. As they were sitting at a 0.4, and I said, you know what? I want y'all to load up before I do.
Yeah. Hashtag never forget.
All right. So still in the like housekeeping portion of this episode. So again, not at that 5-minute mark that I mentioned. I'm going to start sharing out the tweet here from the episode, as well as just getting some social media things done. Biggie, we are going to pull up the Google Play news as well. If you have any links there, let me know, and I can pull them up on the stream as well, because I definitely want to get that piece of news in.
Yeah, I thought I'd sent it. And I just, I don't know. Makes me really happy. I hope this is the beginning of the end of Apple's walled garden monopoly. Finally, and by all means, Apple, rest on your laurels. Do not be quick to change. Just, Google ain't got nothing on you. Just keep being the dick bag that you are. And we'll see you eat your words down the line.
I feel like there's way more Apple supporters with like Apple VR coming out. There's like way more just like standing.
Don't get me wrong. I use Apple products, just not my mobile phone. And I do have, obviously, if you guys have been followers of the channel for some time, I have my issues with Apple, especially regarding their walled garden approach to things. I think they've really killed a lot of innovation. In the past, they've made it very difficult for even publishers like my good friend Giselle Von Kitten back in the day, for putting a woman's silhouette in front of a freaking soccer ball. I mean, what's cooler than that? And man, it was like a month and a half to get it approved. Like, there was no nips, no nothing. It was just a really sexy image, very cool, and they disapproved it, and I had to battle them for a while. And that's a simple example, right? But going into Web3, I think, I don't know, I'm astounded that they continue to pull on that line. I think they're shooting themselves in the foot, and I'm very happy that Google has stepped in and said, you don't want Web3? We'll take them. Open arms. Open the floodgates. Thank you, Google. You will not regret it.
They've always been the leaning more open source software, right? They're very much like the Microsoft to the Apple MacBook kind of play. So it's not surprising that they went this way, but I'm definitely looking. I'm glad they made the announcement, right? They could have put this off another 6 months to a year, yada yada. So I'm glad that they did that. Okay, GIF is just having a field day here. I left for 48 hours. I drove back 8 hours yesterday, and I was gone for 2 days. And I am just getting the most hate that I've ever seen here. So if you are tuning in on Twitter, if you're tuning in here on YouTube, we are back. Nifty Q is back.
It's all love.
Where did you go, Q? Tell us, where did you go off gallivanting for 2 whole days?
2 whole days. I know. Just a large vacation time slot there. I went to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. ICO Alert was actually founded there, so that's where I lived for a period of time, about 3 years. And I eventually went back home, where I'm, hometown that I'm originally from. But I still love to get back to Pittsburgh. Mike Finch is still there over with Parada Capital. And we still have a great time. Pittsburgh's an awesome town. So to Gifted's point, got some nice Asian food.
I just want to know what you and Mike's handicaps are. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I'm bad. I'm like 120. Like, I'm bad. If I get close to parring a hole, I'm like ecstatic. All right.
Yeah.
Anyways, we are going to get started here today. Again, like, apologies for the late start, and also for just like wanting to live my life. Simultaneously, the best and the worst thing about this space is it's all the time. It's fun, but you do feel like you just like lost out on a year of mind share. I don't know how Biggie did it for 4 months. But yes, that's what I'm feeling right now.
Sorry, we're here to catch you up.
Yeah, apparently.
We're here for you. You can always rely on us, man.
No, I appreciate it. I'm counting on you. Okay, biggest news of the day. Obviously, we want to get an intake here from those of you in chat, and also from the the minds up here. XRP surges after judge delivers a huge win to Ripple in its case against the SEC. We've been talking about Ripple and the SEC for,
2018.
Good
That's
Lord,
5 years.
Yeah, and I think Ripple was founded in 2016, maybe even before that. If I'm I'm not totally certain on that date, but man, this has been going on forever. Don't know what made it go, made it happen here today. What was the impetus for this judge ruling? And we need to dive in with you. This kind of broke while we were on the morning show on the Twitter Spaces, so we kind of need to dive in with y'all. But any initial takes from you guys up here on what this means?
It means in the short term, a lot of tokens are going to do well. XRP is pumping. ETH is up 5% already on the news. Go pull up that Ethereum chart, Q.
No, from one of the things that I was a little bit confused by it. I don't know if you picked up on that also, GIF, is that the judge ruled that the sale to VCs was a security. But but afterwards, all the staking and the rewards and airdrop and all that stuff was not. So that's something that I find a little bit confusing, maybe disconcerting. Like, I don't know how that's going to play out. Obviously, in the meantime, but let's see.
What I see in that, and again, I'm not an expert on the legal aspects of this, and this is brand new news, so we're just kind of doing some initial hot takes here. But just on what you just shared, Biggie, it seems like what they're really concerned about and what they're trying to control is the offerings and the way that people are incentivized or launching a bunch of these different tokens, right? So like the whole ICO thing, it seems like they want to have a little bit more control and regulation over how people ICO or how they launch these different tokens. And yeah, what kind of promises they're making, what kind of incentives are included with those. Because it seems like after the fact, what is done with the token may or may not be as interesting. It just seems like the way that they're launching them is the primary concern.
Yeah, I love this topic that you guys have hit on because it's really the interesting case for a lot of altcoins, right? If you didn't do your initial raise
NFTs.
and NFTs, you're 100% spot on. Like anything known to be an altcoin or just a smaller NFT, if you did not do some type of nefarious raise or didn't really fuck up on your wording for your raise, this is actually a really good case, right? Like this is great precedent for you because what they're saying is, on its face, it's not a security. It is the fundraising activity that was the makes it essentially a security. So that's huge news for many altcoins, for many NFT projects, and it could potentially be like, precedent hopefully going forward. Another thing that I need to figure out details wise is what is the level that this judge was on? Because right now you can get local precincts. They'll have their own judges, regional judges. Obviously it goes all the way up to the Supreme Court. What is the level at which this was actually executed is my question.
Mm-hmm. How much staying power does this have, right? How much legal precedent is this going to set going forward? I mean, it's a win, obviously, for XRP. It feels like that, at least. Feels like that is the key word, right? Because, again, it's like part of it is not a security, but apparently part of it is, and we don't know how the ramifications that's going to have with other projects down the road. I personally was never the biggest fan of XRP because it was always kind of seen in this light of, corporate banking system coming in and trying to have their ICO moment back in the day. Mind you, I did hold some for a very short while. But hey, a win's a win, I suppose.
Yeah, XRP's always been this token that has held some sort of status to, I think, the retail public, right? Like that it's so weird talking to people about crypto because one of the first tokens they bring up is XRP. So why is this
marketed? Because they marketed it so well, right? Like they literally made it seem like they had the whole banking system behind it, that it had this it legitimized it in the eyes of a lot of normies back in the day, and a lot of them bought in and probably have written this. Maybe not all of them, but the ones that do, good for you. I'm sure you still got a while back to get back to your original investment, but for us that are more in line with the traditional crypto ethos of decentralization and transparency, this token in particular did not rub the community the right way, I think. And so it's always had this blemish, at least in my eyes, always, right? It's like, okay, like I'll cheer it on because I know that there's big interest behind it, making it a success, right? But at the same time, there's many other tokens that I think are just as worthy, or maybe more so, than XRP. So
I want to get to this tweet that I was pulling up while we were kind of breaking this down. Adam Cochran is among other things, like special counsel to synthetics, also is contributing to Wire. And so basically in DeFi, on the legal side, we have a tweet from him here in a thread saying, overall huge win. XRP is one of the most centralized foundations with a key figurehead who had standard sales via exchanges and formal distribution programs. If those aren't securities, nearly nothing sold via exchanges is. Moral, don't do institutional private rounds. So this is super important right here. Don't do institutional private rounds. Sell via exchanges. Distribute via protocol natively. And F you, Gensler.
Well done. Dude, shout out to Pizza Daddy in the comments. It's great to see the Megapont fam visit. Happy to have you here, brother. And I agree, Fatsuki could do very well due to this.
Yeah, I feel like this is a great time to chime in with an important message, and that is that this is not financial advice. All information was found publicly on the internet. Opinions shared on this episode are solely of the Web3 team, and all info is public domain. Please DYOR, do your own research as always. Y'all know what it is. We're not financial advisors.
We are going to get to some of the NFT projects here. I do want to. I think, Biggie, you were saying something early that was talking about how NFT projects can be affected here, like not just altcoins, right? This is big for NFTs, you think?
I mean, I don't know how it's going to play out, right? My concern here is that, if this raise, especially towards VCs, is considered a security, I don't know. I need to look at some other. I'm sure there's certain NFT projects that have raised VC money before launching their assets to the public that might have something to be concerned about. I'd definitely be talking to my legal team right now and be like, can you please look into this?
Keep in mind, like Polygon, Solana, a couple of these others, I'm not sure. Was Solana an ICO? Polygon definitely was. Like they're not totally out of the woods yet on some of these projects that did launch ICOs. But
I mean, anything that launched on CoinList, for example.
Yeah, this says Solana was the Solana ICO was held on CoinList.
Okay. So there's some precedent here. Also, Extinct is saying XRP won the case. Yes, just broke. We are covering it here. Pretty recent news, but yes, have yourself a day here with that piece.
Yeah, you should pull up the Ethereum chart because ETH is pumping too, which is great to see. Yeah. So I mean, that's who knows what'll happen with NFTs specifically. I just think it's a very bullish signal for the whole space because, as Nifty Q and Biggie were saying, XRP is one of the most sort of broadly well-known cryptocurrencies. It's one of the biggest tokens by market cap. For some reason, I guess because of what it's meant to do, its protocol, being about revolutionizing international banking, that it has more awareness outside of the, kind of core Web3 NFT community. And this court case has been ongoing for a lot of time. It's been the source of a lot of FUD. it's kind of dragged down a lot of momentum, maybe. So I do feel like, at least for all of those reasons, it's a very, very bullish signal that will have positive impact on the space. How long term those impacts are, how the magnitude of those impacts, we don't know.
Yeah, right now looking at the market, you can see the layer 1 protocols, some of which did again raise in ICO, are the ones pumping the hardest. So Solana is up 30% on 7-day, about 15% on the 7-day. You see Cardano is in the same boat. XRP is probably the biggest winner of this, of course. Polygon is there. So all the big protocols are the ones that are really receiving a bid here. Probably not. Stellar is another one that is receiving the majority of interest in volume. So that's kind of the response that we're seeing. What that means long term, no idea. But yeah, major fucking win for the space, and totally off our radar. This wasn't like leaked or anything like, oh, we're gonna get an XRP ruling here in the next month. It's just like came out of fucking nowhere.
Dude, even Pepe is pumping right now, which love to see it. Love to see. It's a good day. It's a good day.
Are you close to your break even on Pepe?
Pepe's pretty close. Yeah, I'm not there quite yet, but we'll see. Maybe this gets me there. We'll see how big this pump is, but it does seem like right now, at least on the back of this, it usually takes about 24 hours for the full global news cycle to hit everywhere. Yeah. So it's exciting to see this momentum picking up and as immediately as it is after this breaking news.
So our best friend here, Tom Emmer, has a tweet about this ruling. The Ripple case is monumental in establishing that a token is separate and distinct from an investment contract it may or may not be a part of. Now let's make it law. So again, referencing this piece here, XRP as a digital token is not in and itself a contract transaction or scheme that embodies the Howard requirements of an investment contract. Who is this judge? Can we figure it out?
Can you tag Web3 on that? I want to retweet that because that's Tom Emmer has, again, we've talked about him because he's been one of the only voices in Washington who has been very outspoken and actually had intelligent things to say about crypto and understands the technology at all. Absolutely has been making a meal out of all of the recent, movements and regulatory processes that have been taking place. It's hard not to say this guy's winning right now. Like Tom Emmer is now one of the only representatives in our government that I actually know, because he's branding himself as like the pro crypto representative up there, and he's all over this. He's been talking about this separation, right? The distinct difference between the token, the investment contract, all this stuff, right? So, yeah.
Eric Voorhees, another big name. We're kind of just pulling up different takes from the space here. 1,000 crypto entrepreneurs harassed by this agency, losing hundreds of millions under duress. Many projects never launching for legal uncertainty. And for what? Upon what beneficial record does the SEC Gov sit? So he's basically using this ruling as a way to have some ammo against the SEC. All the biggest scams happened under their watch. So the Winklevi tweeting here. Man. Crazy. Came back on a good day.
You should take vacations more regularly, Q.
I should.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I should.
Maybe what's really slowing us down is you being here. So if Q could just leave for a few days more often, we'd get more done. Frankly, we'd be more productive.
Oh, okay. On this note, so any other links you have for XRP or Ripple or this case, I do want to dive into. I would love to figure out at what level this was decided, but I was gone for what, again, the best part of this space is that it moves so fast, but it does feel like I'm getting a lot of rough words here about how long I was gone, and it does feel like that. What the hell happened while I was gone?
Your mistake, Q, was sharing photos. That's why I didn't share many photos of my trip. You share pictures, and you just instigate. You know.
They just assume you're in like some Russian prison.
Yeah, you
while
know,
you're gone.
and that was a good picture of like Mike Finch hitting the ball and everything. And it makes people jelly, you know.
Let's pull those up. What are we doing? We're talking about it. Let's go ahead and share Nifty Q's vacation. Let's live vicariously let's live vicariously through this man's photo book, the things that he's been humble bragging about online. There we go. There's Mike Finch
in a Link
the man himself.
That's good form. Mike's must be good. I don't know.
Oh yeah, his
solid.
His handicap cannot be that bad. I mean, look at that. He keeps his head mostly still, although he did turn it at the end there.
Yeah,
I can't say that's great form. But you know, there we go. Some
Biggie, you actually love this here. I got caught.
I did. I saw it. I loved it.
I got caught buying an expensive bottle of sake because I didn't see what the price was obscured, but I had a great time with some good sake there. Again, ramen probably my favorite in the whole entire universe. My favorite food. Some roboteaki there, and then some sashimi. Yeah.
And this is what happened in the Web3 space. This was it this week. It was a big week.
So now that we've gotten that out of the way, what actually did I miss though? What actually happened? Ether happened, like some reveal went poorly.
We haven't really talked about Ether. Yeah, Fatzuki. We haven't talked about Ether on NFT Live because again, we haven't been here this week. Ether has just been kind of a train wreck, man. And you know, I brought this up earlier, Q, because you're the one that initially said this. I have to give you credit. You know, you kind of said there's an alternate universe, a different timeline where all of these recent big hyped up projects actually were good, but we don't live in that timeline. And it's unfortunate because you think about how much better the NFT space at large would be right now if Azuki Elementals had actually created unique, interesting, you know, something totally valuable for new collectors and onboarded new people into their community instead of doing a 2 ETH cash grab with recycled assets. Imagine if they hadn't done that and we'd actually gotten something really interesting and new out of them that lived up to the hype and that price point. Imagine if captains, the meme land captains, had been cooler than they were and not just sort of fudded and like sort of just a strange rollout that a lot of people had question marks about. Imagine if Ether, one of the most hyped NFTs of the entire year that people have been anticipating for literally a whole year, had a high mint price. The art's actually good, but for some reason, when it came to executing the mint and the actual rollout of the drop, just fucked it all up. Like, I don't even understand how it all went so wrong. Like, it's actually difficult for me to understand how they went from being like super hype, everybody excited, you know, gonna be buying their art no matter what, to them cutting supply in half and then only minting 2,000 out of 10,000. And now the floor is down to 0.1 ETH on the reveal. It almost boggles the mind. And obviously a lot of it is just due to the NFT space being horrible in general. But it seems like all of these recent big hyped up projects have not done themselves a service and not done a service to the community at large. And, you know, it kind of makes me want to open up a bigger conversation or again about like how hard it is, you know, in the space to actually do a good job, especially when everybody's ready to FUD anything and it's PvP and you're in a bear winter, you're in a winter bear, as I like to say. But like, you know, so like, I feel like there's a whole other conversation that we could get into just around how hard this is. But I also think that this has been poor execution across the board in a lot of ways.
I was having this convo with Mike Finch when I went up to Pittsburgh, and it was around this idea, like when we were early in our kind of discovery of crypto, the Chinese projects and Asian projects weren't seen as, you know, the highest of quality, if I can, you know, say that. So it felt like are these Asian based products? Because we always talked about how Azuki and Captains and Ether all had these communities that were very like, hey, these are diamond handed, holders in Asia. But now you talk about these three projects not, releasing good product, and it just brought me back to a time when the ICOs were not very high level. There was very few Chinese projects that really did extremely well, but a lot of volume on the collector side and trader side.
That's a really interesting point, because to your point, actually, and I hadn't really necessarily focused on that. I don't actually know like how Asian the community or the team of Ether is. Obviously, it's going in that anime style, but we know Meme Land is very much Asian influenced, Hong Kong based, has a big Asian collector base, and Azuki also very, very strong Asian collector base, obviously anime as well. So it is interesting that there does seem to be a lot of that sort of, if you want to call it Asian meta in these projects recently. I don't know if that's the right term, but a lot of Asian influence in these projects. And yeah, I don't know how that specifically impacts the product, but a lot of them have had more hype and have even had a lot of diamond hands, a lot of hodlers through the bear market, especially on Meme Land, Captains, and Azuki, because a lot of those collectors collect differently. They don't just tend to be traders or flippers as much, but it seems like that's broken, right? I think when you do deliver a poor product and a poor experience, apparently you can lose that. At the end of the day, people do care if things are going to shit, or they feel like they were disrespected, or the project isn't as good as it was hyped up to be. So apparently they do care, because those floors have been hit pretty hard. I haven't actually checked in on Azuki in the last couple of days.
So I see Ether. This is how out of the loop I am. Obviously, again, leaving for 2 days. Now Ether has Ether capsules and Ether avatars.
Capsules were pre-reveal. Avatars is what is now starting to. They've only just started revealing in the last 24 to 48 hours.
Got it.
But yeah, they basically stopped the public mint after only about 1,000 were minted. There was only about 2,000 total minted out of the 10K collection, which is absurd for a project that was this hyped up for this long. Only 2,000. I mean, how do you not look at that and say that like, you can simultaneously say that it was a success because they raised a lot of money and they minted quite a lot of NFTs at a high price point. But you can also say like, there's a lot of failure here, given that you were set up and hyped up and anticipated to be an awesome project. And you actually had good art. Like, you actually have pretty cool art. The art is better on Ether than Azuki Elementals. It's better than the Captains. It's better than a lot of these other projects. A lot of PFP projects do not actually have cool, interesting art, and their art's actually pretty good. And yet somehow, despite all the things they had going in their favor, they only minted out 2,000 out of a 10K. And again, you can credit a fair amount of that to being because of the larger market, the state of the market, state of NFTs. You can also point a big finger at Azuki for front running them. Again, I've been saying this. They front ran this shit. Yeah, they front ran this shit and sucked up $40 million on an anime PFP and delivered junk for that. But not only did they suck up that liquidity, they spoiled the market even more by a bad reveal.
It feels like more,
or maybe saved some people from making a bad decision, right? Because scared the market, as we say.
Again, that sale didn't make it to public. Like, so unless you bought on secondary afterwards and lost your ass probably there too, depending on where you got in, like it was mostly their holders that ended up getting wrecked. So, but you look at it as an example of like, if it went well, would Azuki holders have then bought into Ether? Maybe.
or other people that were just excited because there's actually good projects and momentum and positivity in the space, right? So that's what I mean. It's like, that Azuki.
But I think it's also like, I wouldn't blame external factors for Ether's failures, right? I think there's plenty internal stuff that you can point to that can explain why it didn't do well, right? Like just the convoluted mechanics of the whole, whitelist process and who would be able to buy and the reveal. it was not very popular with a lot of people. And at the same time, of course, external factors played into it, but the price as well was very ambitious, in my opinion, for this market. And there was not a lot of transparency on like what their plans were, and I think it speaks also to like the space, right, and how it's evolving, and because of the experiences that we've had in the past, like just having like a really well hyped project with cool art is not enough now. And that's good. That's as it should be. We should demand more from these projects, right? Like if we want this place to get better, you need to start really being a lot more transparent now. I hope that's the case, right? Because, like, let me show you something that minted out at a crazier price point in a different realm. But this is something that I did participate in and is very happy to. This is an IRL community in New York, founded by one of the biggest like art patrons in the space, like one of the few like that are still buying art out there. It's a beautiful Grant Young piece. I really bought it for the art itself. It's one of my favorite Grant Young pieces that I've seen as of yet. And this particular iconic landmark has a lot of meaning to me. And so I happily bought in, and it comes with a lot of utility behind it. And people were very doubtful that it might have minted out at 0.88. It did. But again, here in this particular case, you have somebody that's very transparent, that's been building his community, has been supporting artists in the space for a very long time, jab, jab, right hook kind of situation. And you can see that the space still has the liquidity and the hunger for actual projects that want to deliver, right, with an actual roadmap. And I mean, if you read through it, yes, there's some expectations. Not everything is completely concrete, but you're betting on the jockey. You're betting on the artists that are backing this and supporting it also, right? Like Grant Young wouldn't like just give his name to anybody. There are things being launched out there that, in my opinion, are worthy of like people's support, right? And I love seeing it, because to me it just proves what I just said, right? That the space is growing up a little bit and is expecting a lot more than just flashy graphics and a silver tongue.
On quantity, the community is going to be expecting more quality when the next bull run comes around. But once those new individuals enter the space, it's gonna be the same cycle over and over. Like there's gonna be more people that are gonna expect good shit, but there's still gonna be those noobs that don't really care, and people are gonna get wrecked, and you will see the same cycle over. But we will see a whole cycle of veterans that are like, hey, you got to launch some good shit.
And I hope that those veterans, or if we want to call ourselves that, or those communities that have been here before and have all of that scar tissue from all their experience, are generous enough to share it with the new people coming in, to help them avoid all those potholes, right? I do see that in communities like Zeneca's. I see it in our community in Proof right now, where we are making an effort to onboard our friends, our family, people that have been crypto curious for a while. I mean, there's great entry points right now for good projects and great communities, and it's on us also to help educate and steer these new crypto curious people to avoid, what other people have had to suffer through, right?
Absolutely, man. I love that. Great take. Yo, smash the like for this man down here preaching. Biggie Poppins. Yeah, and that's what we're all about, man. It's trying to actually pay it forward and help educate, onboard, provide the highest quality editorial, entertainment, and education that we can to do our small part in that. And so if you're part of that too, we appreciate you. Biggie, I see you dropping the prohibition.art link. I do think that's worth mentioning, and it is on the generative art front. But I wanted to maybe before we get into that, because I think that's a deeper combo, I wanted to quickly on the generative art front highlight Jimena Buenavita's collaboration with Bright Moments. And it looks like Vitalik Buterin collected one of her new pieces. So I don't know. Yeah, if I did share that earlier, if you can find that. But right now, one of our favorite artists, longtime friend of the castle, friend of the Web3 network, Jimena Buenavida, who we've had on the network multiple times, supported her drops, has a new awesome collaboration called Epiphanies with Bright Moments, which is an Art Blocks generative art live minting platform. It is right now on the Bright Moments website. You can mint. It's an open edition for 0.05, very affordable. I'm trying to mint some right now, but the gas is actually a little bit high. I'm assuming it's because of everybody's moving crypto around right now on the XRP news. So gas is a little bit high right now, but it's only 0.05 to mint a one-of-one generative piece from Jimena Buenavida's new collection, Epiphanies. And yeah, apparently Vitalik Buterin minted one. And that's a huge deal. Again, this is an OG friend of ours, artist who's been coming up through the community slowly, step by step, building a career as a Web3 digital artist, doing awesome work. And so to see her not only have this awesome collaboration and take her career to that next step with it's a beautiful collection, by the way. But then to get it co-signed, like you said, from Vitalik Buterin, like collecting one of our NFTs is huge. So big love to Jimena. Keep doing you. I'm going to be getting at least one or two of these Epiphanies. And yeah.
And GIF, you'll be happy to know that I believe she's also going to be a part of Prohibition Art as well.
There
I got a peek
and that's
behind
a great
the
segue.
curtains, and they were foolish enough to let me in behind the veil, and I do believe I saw her name there. So I was very happy to see that as well. It's awesome.
Nice. Well, and that's a great segue then to actually talk about what Prohibition and Jordan Lyle are doing.
Another builder, right? Another a community member, a person that's been in this space, friend of this channel as well. Again, like, it makes me so happy to back people like this, right? It really, that's the way I phrase it. It's like, yes, I'm backing the project, but more than that, I'm backing the person. People that are genuinely interested in moving this space forward and that have been active since day one, just very generous with their time, their knowledge. I feel very comfortable partaking in what they're doing and what they're building, and this is going to be really, really exciting. I'm super pumped about it. We definitely need to see if we can get him on the Wild Web show or even on the NFT live show. Come have him shoot the shit. Tell us what's up.
So if you could explain Prohibition Art in 30 seconds, Biggie, what's the TLDR?
So it's a generative art platform using art blocks, code base. So, that's legit. But what I was really impressed by was the artists and just the UI and the UX of being able to like go through the different styles. Hold on. Yeah. How could I describe it better? It's definitely like the best experience I've seen. If we were to take like Art Blocks, like go to Art Blocks' website or Bright Moments and surf through the different offerings and the different artists, this is by far the best experience or layout that I have seen, right? To be able to, find out, it really puts the artist prominently at the forefront of everything. And so if you were to go to, one of these artists that's going to be launching in this platform, you'd be able to find out a lot more about them and the art that they're doing and their explanations. It's really, really cool. And it's on Arbitrum too. And there's a couple of other things that I'm not allowed to say, but let's just say that the way he phrased it is like, it's open for everybody. There's not going to be whitelists. You're not going to be having to bum rush to anything. It's so that everybody can collect these amazing artists' pieces. And I think that's really cool. It's a very democratic approach to it. It really just takes away the whole FOMO and bum rushing through the squeezing everybody in through like a little window type of situation that we always have to face when trying to get some of our favorite artists' pieces, right? Especially when they blow up. And so I thought this was awesome. And I love that it's on a prominent layer 2 It's also helping scale Ethereum. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of FX Hash, and I love FX Hash. It's an open generative art platform on Tezos that I've collected almost all of my Tezos art. I do have some object pieces, but almost all of my art on Tezos is awesome generative art on the FX Hash platform, and it kind of reminds me of that, right? But he's doing it on an Ethereum layer too, which is really, really dope. Yeah, I'm excited for it, man.
All right, we only have Biggie for a few moments longer, so I definitely wanted to get this story, and I know he was asking for it at the beginning. Biggie, if you got to run, just let us know, man. But we did have this big piece of just awesome like Web3 gaming and just like NFTs in general. Honestly, it's not just gaming that's happening on the App Store. Google will let Android Play Store games and apps offer NFTs. What is happening on that title? But
yeah, it doesn't flow very smoothly, does it? Man, honestly, like, so the first time I saw this, I was like scrolling, I think, through Twitter, and I saw it, and I don't know, like, you know how it is in Web3, you become kind of desensitized sometimes with big news when you're like, oh, okay, check, next, right? And I had to do a double take, and I was like, wait a second, like this is big, right? And I still I was like, yeah, this is big, this is great, and I just kept scrolling. And it was not until like I saw more people start talking about it that it really finally like dawned on me, and I was like, wait a second, like this is huge. This is exactly what we're always talking about, right? Like opening it, I mean, just opening it up, especially like on a mobile platform, which we all know is where we spend the majority of our time. The majority of the people that we're looking to onboard, don't spend most of their time. They may not even have a desktop, right? Like this is the first screen, as they talk right now, until we have the VR goggles and all that. The first screen is the phone. It is the most prominent, the most used, and to have Google, an open source platform, open its arms to Web3 is just tremendous, man. Like I honestly did, I still kind of can't believe it. Like, is it like just a response towards Apple, or it's obviously a genuine also attempt to embrace these people that have been shunned by Apple, and to invite all these developers, into the space to start building the future on ramps, right? For normal people, for retail. I'm excited about it. That's all I can say, man. I can't even begin to think about like the products that are gonna come out of this, right? Like, I mean, and I'm sure like in the beginning we're gonna start with like, the Candy Crushes and the whatever Farmville type of stuff that maybe not a lot of us will be enthusiastic about. But man, as long as it starts educating people about the power of this technology and how it is different from traditional gaming, I'm all for it, man. And so this is just a huge win for the space, I think. I mean, arguably maybe even bigger than the Ripple news, in my opinion,
Well, it's maybe long term, right? Like the effects of this are going to ripple broadly out, right? So pardon the pun. Wow. It was totally intended.
Wow. I love it.
Oh, gotcha. But what I really loved here is that it's actually showing that the stuff that we're saying up here is right on, man. Like we've had a lot of actually good calls. Like in the last year or two that we've been doing this stuff, we've actually been ahead of the really like on the ball, or ahead of the ball, like whatever you want to say, ahead of the curve on all this stuff. And that's because we're showing up every day with you, if you're listening, like trying to pay attention and make sense of it all, talk through it. And so we're really ahead of the curve on a lot of this stuff, and see it coming way before any of it actually ever becomes a reality. And what I really love in that article that you were showing, Nifty Q, about this is that they specifically talk about Reddit as one of their partners in here. And we've been talking about how important Reddit was as a formative, fundamental case study for the space. And even going further to say that like I've been saying this. I've been saying I think Reddit now, because they've onboarded what 6-7 million new wallets, or over 10. What is it? I don't know. Somebody check and let us know in the chat. How many millions of new wallets have Reddit onboarded into Web3 at this point? It's millions. And what I've been saying is that because of that, they have established themselves as one of the most important platforms for launching new products. They've put themselves at the center of Web 2, Web 2.5, brands coming into the space. Anybody that wants to launch a new product and do it well should be looking at Reddit, talking to Reddit, maybe even using the Reddit platform to do this. I've been saying this for a while. And now what you're seeing is literally here. Google is looking to Reddit to show them how it's done. They partnered with Google partnered with Reddit's team on how to execute their Web3 strategy here.
So there's a little bit of like a sleeping giant element to this. Like, and you can make the argument that Reddit will never try to attempt like the monetization piece, because you're talking about like some of the most influential moves in NFTs, like you just said, working with Google to make sure that the Play Store has that implementation. There's 17 million collectible avatars. There's 13 million holders, and the market cap is only 56 mil. Like that's smaller than like a majority of projects. This is
what layer 2 and scale looks like when you're not talking about $1,000, $5,000 NFTs, when you're talking about $5, $10 collectible NFTs. And that's going to be the majority of NFTs, right? So it's like, I think that there's been confusion sometimes when people are like all one way or the other, that there's going to only like, oh, that's all NFTs are going to be. It's like, no, there's always going to be the high-end collectible art market and high-end PFPs that will exist. But where the scale comes in and the majority of the mass market comes in, they're not buying $2,000 PFPs. They're just not. And so the overall percentage of the larger pie that will be Web3 and NFTs is going to be much smaller, cheaper collectibles. And that's what you're seeing here. This is what that starts to look like.
Yeah. I was, while Gifted was talking there, I was pointing out the projects that have a market cap around 50 mil, right? And that you have to go all the way into the 400s to find projects with a market cap of $50 million. And certainly these people do not have, certainly these people do not have 17 million holders. Not to say that there's 17 million holders in Reddit. That number's probably in half, maybe 2/3 of that is unique, but that's wild. So I wonder what their strategy is if they're looking at it in that perspective. Like, how do we monetize this? Because the market caps on these avatars are not large to the point we're just making.
Most of these the monetization part is just one area, right? Like it's building on top of it, right? Like incorporating that ecosystem with the tech, right? Like, you know, it's very much like the internet. It's like, if the blockchain is the, you know, internet, the HTTP and all that, what was built on top of it, what's coming is what I'm really excited about, right? Like what's going to be built on top of it. And to have Google and Reddit lead the way and enabling it is going to be fantastic.
Most tech companies are familiar with freemium models or investing really, really heavy upfront to acquire user bases before you ever try and monetize them. Most big tech companies understand that you have to invest millions and millions and tens of millions or even hundreds of millions of dollars to create a valuable product and experience and a valuable user base before you try and start monetizing them. And I think that's what is cool here is that I think these companies are starting to understand that this is actually a long-term tech, play. This isn't just a short-term cash grab. Let's launch an NFT project and try and suck a bunch of liquidity out of these fools and use it as a marketing channel, just like any other marketing channel that we don't care. Like, let's just put it under our marketing department, see what they can do with some old IP, and maybe we can get some additional cash in this quarter. No, this is the future of the internet. This is the future. Yeah.
Yeah, and to Google's credit, I feel like they are a company that understands that, right? Like, just take a look at YouTube. You know, I mean, they took a good while to start adding like ads and everything. I mean, if you can go back all the way back when it was launched, right? Of course, now it's a different beast. They do have to eventually integrate some type of monetization, but I like that it's Google leading the charge because I do think they understand long-term plays. You know, it is a company that plays long-term.
All right, we're watching the markets
tail.
while we talk about future market predictions here with Reddit kind of taking over. One thing I do want to point out as well is that market cap would put it around 17th on the NFT projects market cap list. So it'd be a little bit higher or around Milady's, right outside the top 15 in NFT projects. So
the other quick thing that's totally relevant to how these early big experiments that these existing Web 2 communities and brands like Nike, Starbucks, Reddit, another great example of how these experiments and these literal, like, these are business leaders leading the charge, showing how it's done, testing out new models, and actually seeing some success doing this, how key they are now positioning themselves again at the forefront as leaders in this new world, and how important these case studies are is that, Q, you missed this on your vacation. 7-Eleven just dropped a whole Slurpee thing, like a big Slurpee activation that very much is kind of following like a loyalty rewards track similar to Starbucks. So they've looked at 7-Eleven, looked at Starbucks and said, oh shit, they're getting this community engagement. They're getting the loyalty and rewards thing using Web3. We better start playing around. And so 7-Eleven now just started doing
which is a call you made. Yeah, which is a call you made about Starbucks. Hey, I got good news and I got bad news. Good news is we just crossed 2K on ETH, so it's a good news for maybe long term, but also flip traders.
Smash the like.
But the bad news is we're losing Biggie Poppin'. So
yeah, fellas, it's been real. I love you guys in the chat. I'll see you next week. Always great talking to you, but I won't take up more airtime. See you next week, guys. Love you.
Peace, bro. Salud.
Smash the like for that, man, and for 2K. It's been a long time coming. I remember back when we were sitting around 1100, 1200, not too long ago, and we were like, will we ever get back above 2K? Yo, XRP coming in clutch.
Who would have thought it would be XRP to save us? That's absolutely wild. A last take here on the play to, I almost said play to earn, which kind of leads me into like the take that I actually have was like the implementation into Google App Stores or Google Play App Stores piece here is very much focused on NFTs, and I think that's healthy. Like what we were seeing with projects like StepN, originally projects like Axie Infinity, some of these other projects was that it was fungible tokens. It was the AXS token. It was the StepN token that was being implemented that kind of shook things up. It's kind of weird to like have a currency / investment like contract or what have you with these fungible tokens. This is actually really healthy. The utilization of NFTs that you can just earn in these games or earn in these apps. Like that's a way more healthy environment than actually saying, hey, you can earn money via this play to earn system. So I think that will eventually come. We'll eventually figure out the model. But right now, NFTs are a better fit for this system than saying, hey, you earn a bunch of StepN on this app. That shit, it turns into a Ponzi real quick. It turns into a Ponzi real quick when you add that kind of element, as opposed to saying it's just items that you can own in this app.
It's a great point. But also on the play to earn front, one other project that we haven't talked about is Parallel TCG, which does seem like it's bringing back some of the play to earn into a new era of Web3 gaming. So I don't know if we want to check in on that. Parallel Studios behind Parallel TCG is they just sold out a big project, and apparently the reveal is happening like in the next 24 hours, 12 to 24 hours. And I know Flubber Rooney, shout out Flubber, big, awesome community member. We've actually had him on the show. He's big into that right now. So he was actually sharing some alpha with us. And yeah, apparently that's a play to earn card game. That's kind of like the next era, pushing it forward, doing a lot of interesting things, has its own prime token, rewards and all different kinds of stuff in that.
Parallel was absolutely an OG. Like I think are 2021. They've been doing that trading card piece, and they've released physicals of these pieces. So it's really cool to see them actually coming out with a game soon. Trading card games are legit as well. Like I would love to play those if we have any good ones besides Gods Unchained. I do want to mention this is one thing I want to bring up here with the NFT Go Bag Check, and I'm going to fly through this. We did see a little bit of a reverse here over the last 7 days. This has been a long time coming here, and maybe I do need to take a little bit of days off here. But over the last 7 days, we saw a bounce off the bottom here on July 7th. You can see that we're almost, we're almost like 3,000 ETH up on the blue chip index. On USD, you can see we also bounced off the bottom a little bit. Again, if you zoom out to 30 days, like we're not nearly where we need to be, but at least there was some stairs up as opposed to seeing continuously, trends downwards. You see that on the market cap and volume side as well. So 7 days on ETH, you can see market cap increased over that time. Volume has kind of stayed stagnant. Against USD, the same exact thing. So we got a little bit of a bump here, like almost a double up on the market cap here. Or am I getting that wrong? Is that volume on this right side? What's 1.3 mil on this on the Y axis here?
Yeah, I think that's
volume.
Gonna be volume. Yeah, because market cap's on the left. But yeah, shout out NFT Go. Also, they were our awesome special guest, specifically Jared, the homie over there, NFT Go today on GM Web3. They are moving into launching their pro tools, which is a big deal. They've been offering a tremendous service to the community for 2 years now. They just had their 2-year anniversary. So shout out NFT Go for 2 years, providing a bunch of value for collectors, traders, the whole Web3 space. Anybody in NFTs can use their tools for free, and they are now starting to step it up, try and find a more sustainable business model by launching their pro trading subscription. And it's a really big deal. They're still going to have a free version of a lot of their free tools, but they are going to start to put some of their more advanced pro tools behind a subscription for like $48 a month. And we're going to get to try that out too. But we love what they do. And it was awesome having Jared come on and share more about what they're working on and their new subscription.
Love that. Yeah, we'll be able to actually show off that pro subscription as well here on the channel, so that'll be fun. So yeah, we picked up about 250 million looking at the market cap. So we picked up $250 million, folks, here in the Ethereum NFT ecosystem over the last 7 days, which is nice to see. We've been down for a while. 24 hours charts, the captains, Azuki Elementals, Bored Ape, Mutants, Captains, Funks, Azuki Elementals, DeGods, and Ether Avatar are the majority here over the last 24 hours.
By the way, I did go look at Azuki briefly, and that floor is down to almost like 6 ETH. It's like 6.5 ETH right now, which is, again, they were
my call.
Dude, they were at 16 ETH floor before the Elementals launched. So
Bored Apes got a bid over the weekend. They I think bounced up to like 34 at one point, so they're going to be the top collection over the last 7 days on volume. Azuki Elementals, Mutant Apes, the Captains, Punks, DeGods, Art Blocks, and Fat Zuki taking up in the top 10.
Did you happen? I'm sure you did because you pay close attention to the Bored Ape floor. Did you happen to notice where it got down to?
No.
Really?
Is there a specific number we were looking at?
Well, when we were making predictions, I said it would drop into the high 20s before it bounced. And
yeah, I saw it bounce to like was it like 27? Was that where it was at?
It got down around 27, 28.
Yeah.
So just saying, another call here. If you were paying attention and you happen to have 27, 28 ETH lying around, I mean,
outstanding. I don't pretend to know like what you actually did on like the details of when you made the sell of the Bored Ape into other altcoins. But if it was just in Pepe, I think you'd be up at this point because Bored Ape has gone down significantly. And
if I had taken my time averaging in a little bit longer, I would be up now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I pretty quickly started averaging in as it dropped initially. So I still caught a lot of the falling knife, which is why like on Turbo, I'm still down pretty bad. Yeah. But like if Pepe keeps running right now, I might cross my break even.
And you're like Bored Ape is significantly down since you sold it. Like you sold it at like 40, right? 40.
No, I sold it at 50, like 49 wild. Or something. Yeah. So I got out around 50 ETH.
So that trade actually, folks,
look, people can say we're up here talking nonsense and we don't know what we're doing, but the calls have been pretty solid. Pepe up 12% so far on this news, and it's trending in the right direction.
I need to see the details on this because you're probably really close. You depending on how much you put into Pepe to Turbo to whatever. If it was just Pepe, I think would be up. Because that is a significant drop. That's a 20 ETH drop off 50. Like, it'll be really close. So
pull up Pepe and look at it. But XRP is up like 80% already just in like the last hour.
Yeah, Jared's catching that one. Pepe's up 11%. It looks like.
So, yeah, you know what? Shout out Jared from NFT Go too, because he's been one of the people that was educating me on XRP and talking about how he was, he wasn't playing a lot of altcoins or meme coins, but he was feeling good about about XRP. And he was saying that 2-3 months ago. He was like, I feel like, this is moving in the right direction. And he called that one right.
My man Jared probably has some inside info because what are we talking about here? XRP, like that's been on the radar for fucking 5 years. You just randomly buy XRP the week before the announcement.
No, he wasn't buying he might have been buying more a week before. No, but there's been hints that it was kind of moving in that direction if you were paying close attention. Quantum saying it was a bold move, but we want you back in Bake soon. Appreciate you, big guy. And I hope so. I say Bake. Some people say BAYC, which I think is weird. Ooh. Why would you say BAYC? Why wouldn't you? Why at that point just say BAYC? Like don't say some letters and then articulate a word out of the others. Like how does that make sense?
It's good to see everybody joining us here today. We got started on a kind of slow start here. Everybody thought apparently we just left the industry. God forbid you take a break in this industry, you're gonna get lit up. But it's good to see everybody in the chat here. Another one that we want to be following here on a personal note, if you've been watching NFT live at home, is we made a concentrated bet, I believe, with around 8K into heavy metals as opposed to Oniforce. And so we're sitting at an interesting point here too, because I don't know what Oniforce was when we made the bet.
It was around 1.2.
1.2. So they're sitting at 1.07, which is close to my 1 ETH price personally. But anyways, on the same bet, heavy metals is at 0.67. That I feel like is around the same. It's taken the same. How can I say this? Basically, right after the reveal, it dumped from people selling the news, and now it's being heavily accumulated by people playing the game. And it's very much a Ponzi-nomics type game right now where people want to continue to get more and more points, so they are buying more and more heavies. And so that's what we're playing right now, is whether at 0.67 we continue to see heavy metals be bought up. So I don't know. Thoughts, Gif?
Honestly, I have been, because while you've been enjoying your vacation, I've also been trying to touch some grass and, get out a little bit more. I've been sleeping so hard on my heavy metals, just in the last couple, the first couple days or week, I was spending a lot of time, doing it. I've taken kind of a break the last couple days or last week or so. So I need to catch back up. And I honestly haven't been paying that much attention. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's the actual like Forge game. I'm more talking about the price action that we're seeing on Blur right now, which I think is again whales trying to buy more and more heavies to compete to get the top spot. I don't know if that changes after season one is over. Like season one, I think is over next week. So I'm trying to compete here. If you guys want to look, I'm trying to compete for a top spot here in at least season one. I don't know what happens. But let me pull up.
It's probably really smart, man. If you can probably, it probably snowballs. Like if you do well in season one, the other seasons you're probably going to do better in too. So yeah, you're probably doing it right, dude.
I will say I think you're somewhat right, but I also think so. Let me see seasonal here. So I'm 120th here, which is a dangerous territory. We got about 7 days left on this first season. I think 1 through like 40 get the legendary amp. So literally the 1 through 20. It's not like 1 through 10. It's like 1 through 40 get the legendary amp. So I'm sitting right at the spot. I think that I will not be able to get this next time. This is going to be my only time because what happens is like I was able to get it in the first day and get a bunch of votes. And so I don't think I'm going to get this the second day. But this is the kind of where we're at right now. Heavy metal in general, I think, is being like not well received right now. I really do think people are expecting some type of update after season one. Hopefully we do get it. Again, it is a mini game that's meant to be like a prior game to a raid system that we're going to get better games on. So
yeah, and that's the whole point of seasons is you provide DLC and updates and different cool things. So it's, yeah, that's why I've been saying from the jump, like all the people that literally in the first couple of hours of seeing the Forge that were all like, here's what they did wrong and bad and how they should have changed everything. I was just like, yo, if you haven't at least given, played through it for the first 3-week season, like you don't actually know what the fuck the game is at all. Much less like once they get into, the dungeon crawler and past the first 3 seasons. So I don't know. I still feel like there's a lot more to come. That's where I'm at. I need to get back in and spend more time on my Forge. But let's look at your Forge, Q.
There's not really much to look at, right? You're not like trying to, in some elements, you're not trying to really get a good Forge. Like I'm not playing this game 24/7. There are people that are getting a whole bunch of energy with building out a really cool Forge like that. Yeah. If you don't have a bunch of time, you got to prioritize one or the other. So yeah, I'm working with many heavies. It takes a whole shit ton of time. I hated having to do this while I was away. But if I didn't do it while I was away, you saw that 120th spot. There's no chance. I would have fell out completely. So
DP is saying buys 10 janitors to not have them clean up, reported, because he's obviously riffing on Prodigy, saying buys 10 heavies not to play them. Look, Q is taking it on his shoulders to be, he's the gaming expert. So he's over here forging most of our heavies. I got my two forges that I've been kind of slow playing a little bit. And Q's over here just cleaning up poop, scraping doo-doo off of his tiles.
It's not fun,
left
folks.
And right.
It's a grind, folks. Every single day for the last 2 weeks, I've had spreadsheets. I'm working it, so it's
spreadsheets.
Yes. That's how, because you're working with like 50 votes, and you're doing vote for votes on different things. It's just like,
wow, you're really playing the game. All right, man. See, I think it's going to pay off. Like, I think at least in some way, we don't know how, but I think, you're getting early. Again, I think it'll snowball. I think the fact that you do well early on in this first season or two is going to make a big difference. So I think you're doing it right.
Quantum Variant saying I'm going for Porter 3. That's a pretty big step there. Some alpha that was dropped. You will need to get to that big ass portal, the big black portal, in order.
I
to
knew
play
that
the
was
raid.
Yeah. I knew that would be the way to get out to the raid. For some reason, it just seemed clear to me that was a special portal that would probably do the raid.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit. I don't want to dive into like heavy metal alpha hour. What I'll probably do is stream tomorrow because I wasn't here all week. I'll stream tomorrow and answer any heavy questions and kind of dive deep. But up to this point, I am 120th.
That's fucking dope, dude. Yo, smash the like for that. This guy's working his butt off. Even while he's on vacation, he's still scraping doo-doo off of his tiles. So forging away. DP saying, I'm convinced that Q would have enjoyed it if they just released a digital 1,000-piece puzzle and called it a strategy game. All right.
If I could use my NFTs in it, I probably would have. Yeah. That's where we're at in gaming.
Prodigy asking the important questions. Why does it have to be a big black portal? Huh? Great question, Prodigy.
I didn't make the rules. All right, I'm going to finish up with this, and this will be the last piece. Along with, Ape Coin and Heavy Metal and Forge and all this shit, we have seen an uptick in Ape DAO, right? And what's happening there. And Yatsu is, of course, like one of the main. I believe he's still part of the special council. Yeah, this is the last. I said last story. I said this is the last story. Why am I getting torn? Oh my God. Look, Yacht is putting out a story here. He's doing the Machi thing. This is like Machi, but even better because it's coming from Yatsu. He's trying to start an NFT vault purchased with Ape Coin. You can see the what he wants to buy first here too. In order of priority and subject to approval, the first purchases proposed are
first. Wow.
Okay, so yeah, listen. This is kind of crazy. There's a good tie in there. The one thing I will say, if you remove Mochaverse from this GIF and just like hold it on face value, the one positive I could see from this was that you do potentially get the positive PR marketing for apes if they're purchasing other projects' NFTs and putting it in, a pseudo NFT vault. I don't know what that looks like. You can't do this, I think, while ApeCoin is where it is. Like at $2, we shouldn't be like. I have a problem with like burning these. Like you're basically like spending ape. Likely that ape is going to be sold. Like it's tough to do it in this environment, but I guess you could do that for all ape proposals. But I like this idea of sweeping floors with ApeCoin. If ApeCoin was in a bit of a healthier environment.
I'm not against that. I think it can be good. I feel like there's conflicts of interest here when the head of the DAO is saying use your ApeCoin to sweep my NFT collections. So I don't know about that.
It's like,
but
it's
also
like 15 grand probably.
Yeah,
worth. It's not like
he's also taking down 20 plus grand a month. Like I don't know. You're right. I mean, maybe it's not that big of a deal. 10 of them is 10 of them is not like 10 of them is not as bad as saying like buy fucking 50 for or 100.
It's probably less than an ETH floor at this point, isn't it? I don't know.
Everything is. DP though also pointing out Q, why you gotta look so serious when we're roasting you, huh? You know that shit's funny.
All right, Gifted is completely done with this episode.
Good to be back.
If you didn't, you guys can't see this, but I said this is the last story that I have, and then Gifted all caps. Let's wrap it up. Let's go. Listen, I've got this on tap for y'all. Spotify is epic with their tech. They're not allowing you to see this. There's a video playing here and here. But you're not able to see it. This is Star Lordy.
They know because they know what you're up to.
Yeah, this is Star Lordy here on the Wild Wild Web Pod. Great to have a guest of that stature on the podcast. So I just posted this. If you're listening, I haven't even tweeted this stuff out from the Wild Web Podcast Twitter. So you are the first one that is going to be able to check out this interview with Star Lordy. It's video and audio, talking about the rise of now Oniforce into blue chip status, which they're right there on the cusp. So really excited for it. But we appreciate you guys tuning in. I will be streaming tomorrow because I wasn't here all week. I'm going to do that special for you guys. We don't usually stream live on Fridays, but I'm going to do that because I got so many. One can only assume it's hate mail at this point about my time away from the industry. So I got it from Prodigy. I got it from Gifted. I mean, Jacob said, I can't believe you would do this to me. What is your problem?
Yeah, it's a fair question. What is your problem?
Exactly. So I'm going to try to stream tomorrow, folks. Thank you guys. Prodigy, let me make sure I'm getting this chat. Prodigy, DP, Quantum Variant, good luck with your forge, sir. Metageist, Easy in Crypto, Our Vibe, Our Tribe, Extinct, Pizza Daddy. Y'all were epic. Biggie Poppins, thank you for joining us on this episode, man. We appreciate you as well. Our Vibe, Our Tribe, GIF, send us out, man.
What else can I say? Return of the prodigal son. We weren't sure if he'd ever make it back. He made it back. And yeah, I couldn't be happier to get to hang out with you at least once this week. I wasn't even sure we get to do any of them.
I'm chaining myself to this desk.
You were vacationing so hard, touching grass so hard that we didn't even know if we'd get any NFT live this week. But we made it happen right in the nick of time. Buzzer beater. That's what we did here because of this man actually making it back to us. So thank goodness you survived your time out there with Mike Finch.
I'm going back right now.
Our Vibe, Our Tribe. We'll be back next week.